2.1 was an era of three things: learning, waiting, and losing your mental sanity. If you go to the rated levels right now, except for Mythics with 70 trillion hours of work put into them, you'll realize that levels are either good or mid, but stuffed with 20 different visual effects at a time, so nobody really notices that it's mid. But for most of the game's history, that cheat code didn't exist. If you wanted to make a good level, you actually had to be able to make a good level. Now 2.2 was unequivocally a net positive for the game. I'm not the guy who's going to argue with anyone on that. However, Geometry Dash in 2021 was tough ICL NGL. Dark Odyssey, absolute cinema. I was actually thinking of just making a 3-hour long Scott the Woz video about Dark Odyssey instead, but we're not going to do that right now. When I look back at this era, I realized something very important. I realized that I'm old and I should probably go get a life instead of watching Geometry Dash levels from 4 years ago. But I also realized that Nhelv was just different, bro. The trend of making these weird glitchy punk levels has already been a thing for a little while, but when your way of making your level scary is by manually telling the player to give up 100 times in this weird font rather than actually doing stuff that would make the player give up, it's corny, and it doesn't work. Nhelv was the first level in this genre that I came up with 5 minutes ago that accomplished this effect without having to shove it down your face. In fact, when you leave the level, you honestly still don't even really know what you just experienced. Nhelv gives you the vibe that you're a trespasser in some otherworldly reality with its own rules, in even its own language. So many different things happen throughout the level, but it never breaks character either, and all of this weird stuff still feels like it's all happening in the same place. Even the slow parts feel intense just because it carries the same energy as the intense parts before it. The whole level carries the same energy, it all feels like connected almost, yet it still feels like a big journey where you go through so many different things, and you almost feel rejuvenated after going through the entire thing. I'd be wasting your time if I tried describing the aura that this level has, cause it's impossible, even for me who writes about Geometry Dash levels for a living. But the reason I yapped about 2.1 for the first half of this video is because it's worth noting that levels consistently kept getting better and better every day for 7 years straight with no updates in that time. And no other game can do that. Geometry Dash was too good of a game that no one could handle it getting bland and dying out. Despite having what we now might see as a pretty confined level editor, just to keep the game alive, everyone had to keep coming up with new stuff every day. Except for me because I suck and I've never made a level in my entire life. But ignoring that, in this period of revolution, evolution, and confusion, we got Nhelv, a level that isn't good because of chromatic aberration, shaders, motion blur, or any of those juices. It was good purely because it was a good idea that was executed in a good way. You can make a level better than Nhelv, but there will never be another level like Nhelv.